GVSU falls at Pittsburgh State 17-14 in a pretty defensive game where you had GVSU struggling on offense, especially in the first half. Pittsburgh State did go up 10-0 at halftime. GVSU did end up responding in the third and fourth quarter. One of those was actually a defensive touchdown. It was basically Pittsburgh State fumbled it at their own 2, and you have GVSU running all the way back for 98 yards to end up putting up the first points of the game for GVSU. Finally started getting going a little bit, but if you look at these statistics and just the way this game went, GVSU only had about 250 yards of offense total. You're not going to win a ton of games doing that. Now, Pittsburgh State, on the other hand, had about another 100 yards more, so they had 350 yards. Not necessarily the most explosive type of offense that you're going to face, but that's something that I've talked about going into this game, talked about their game against Ferris State as well, is their strength is going to be the defense. And that's exactly what happened in this game. Pittsburgh State did end up forcing 2 interceptions from Andrew Schuster. Probably not one of his better games. I'm sure this is one of the games that he would want to have back. Now, again, is this a bad loss for GVSU? No. This is a really tested Pittsburgh State team. And this is a Pittsburgh State team that, going into this preview, I talked about how they're probably the toughest schedule in the entire country through 3 games. And they end up getting 1 win at home and basically a score with about 9 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. Like, GVSU had opportunities towards the end of this game to win it. They obviously did not, and that was just kind of the day for GVSU. They just struggled offensively. Defensively, I thought that GVSU played pretty well, especially when you score a touchdown off of a fumble. You have to be pretty happy with that. But this is going to be one of those games that I think GVSU is going to take away, that they had an opportunity to come out of Pittsburgh State with a win. Now, again, if some of those turnovers did not happen, do I think GVSU wins this game? There's a real possibility, especially because of how close this game truly was. But you do have to give Pittsburgh State a lot of credit for that, to force those turnovers, to not let GVSU get going, especially through the air as well. I talked about how Andrew Schuster was really accurate throughout his first couple of games as a starting quarterback at GVSU. He obviously wasn't as accurate in this game, almost had less than 50%. He went 14 for 27, only 150 yards. Not going to necessarily be, obviously, the greatest game. GVSU wasn't really able to get the ball going on the ground. It truly was the Pittsburgh defense that was causing issues for GVSU. Now, because of that, if you look at the rankings that came out today, I believe GVSU is like 15, 16, maybe 17, maybe a little bit higher than that. Going into this game, they were number 3. So that's really kind of the way that people deem this loss. Again, I think that in itself maybe is a little bit more harsh than I would put it. I do think that this Pittsburgh State team is a top 20, top 25 team in the country. It's really hard to go on the road and win, but I truly don't think that this was GVSU's best performance. Now, do I think that this hurts GVSU long term? No, I absolutely don't. I think they obviously have the matchup against Ferris State. Now, if they lose 2 more games, I think this is a real opportunity that could maybe bump them out of the playoffs, depending on what the other teams do in the GLIAC. If you end up getting a win over Michigan Tech, maybe a win over Ferris, absolutely you're in. So there's absolutely no panic whatsoever. I think GVSU is going to figure this out offensively. And I just think this was a bad game from the offense. I think the defense did good enough where we had an opportunity to win it several times. You just didn't get it going enough. You just didn't have a run game. You just didn't have your pass game like you've had. And it's just a bump in the road. Like, your goals are ahead of you. You still have a lot to look forward to. And I'm not really super worried about the GVSU team at all. Now, again, if they drop one in the next couple of games, unless it's like to Ferris State, I would then get maybe a little bit worried. But I think with the talent that this team has, with the talent that they went up against Pittsburgh State, at Pittsburgh State, I truly think that if this offense can get back to what it was I think this is going to be still a really good GVSU team. It's just I feel like this was just one of those performances that you look back offensively and you're going to be like, I wish I would have had that back. And defensively, I think this really shows you that this defense can fly around, that this defense can force turnovers. And I think that's going to be a really good sign going forward, even though, in my opinion, I don't think this Pittsburgh State offense is that great. They did give up 14 points. They did give up, obviously, the game-winning score. But I thought that defensively they did a pretty good job overall. Obviously, they want to get better. Obviously, they'll be playing better opponents in the near future. But GVSU had opportunities to win this game. They just didn't do enough to do it. They just had too many turnovers in this game. And unfortunately, because of that, you end up falling to 2-1. Still a top 20 team. Still going to be a team that's absolutely going to be in the playoffs, in my opinion. I think they'll continue to fix it. Andrew Schuster, I think, will be better in the future. And I think this offense has too much talent to score 14 points in a game again. I truly do. So, yeah, that's my opinion on this game. What were your thoughts on the game? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Let me know in the comments. You have to give full credit to Pittsburgh State. They did enough. They needed a absolutely massive win. They absolutely got that in this game. Defended home field, which is what you're supposed to do. But yeah, I think GVSU is going to be completely fine in the future, and it's just one bump in the road. So hopefully you enjoyed this recap of the GVSU game. Definitely will do more. If you did, please like, subscribe, share, comment, all that kind of stuff. Really appreciate anyone tuning into this recap. Definitely will be more going forward, but now GVSU has to go forward looking for a bounce back game in this week.